What? Hey guys, Bethany is here, and today we got the Fosters, Season 5, Episode 13, Line in the Sand. Okay, so this episode, so this episode starts off with them all waking up and saying good morning, Principal, to Lena. Lena got the principal job. Drew and Lauren are Drew the bad guy, and Lauren the board member out of the school, and Lena has finally got the job that she's earned because they realized that without her, all the students, the board realized that without Lena, the teacher would have left, meaning that the school would have died, and never the school would have just ceased. No one would have went to the school if no teachers would have been there. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Brandon and Grace are talking, and Grace is like, hey. Grace is like, Brandon's like, Grace is like, hey, you should do a senior prank. And he's like, my mom wouldn't really go for it. And she's like, and Susan starts saying, hey, hey, what she used to do was she and a bunch of her high school seniors taped their principal's car on the roof. And she's like, they pretend mad when they're really having fun. And she's like, she used to be fun. And Grace is like, before she had cancer, and just before Grace got cancer, and she's like, she was no fun long before Grace didn't have cancer. So anyway, yeah. So Brandon's like, hey, Brandon, Brandon's like, hey, Grace, are you guys doing anything? And she's like, why? Because Grace never, and she's like, cause there's a prank, and Grace really wants to do it. And Maya was like, why does Grace care? And she's like, because she never got, the normal high school experience, prom, anything as a kid or as a teenager, or so basically she needs this. So basically they invite everyone. They invite Wyatt, they invite Talia, they invite Zoe, and yeah, so Talia's like, so giving Brandon massages, and Grace is like, who's that girl giving him massages? And she's like, Talia, and he's like, she was just his girlfriend through sophomore, junior, sophomore year, and she's like, for 2 years, and she's like, yeah. And then when Grace, who's Grace does this to? To Callie. Basically, she's like, isn't it awkward having the girl that slept with your boyfriend here? And it's awkward because she's talking to Callie, who also slept with Brandon. Grace doesn't know that. That's why she's been venting her frustration venting her thing to Callie, because she doesn't have Callie all slept with Brandon. It'd be I was thinking Courtney sleep with Brandon. Actually, that was one episode, but they got interrupted before they could officially sleep together. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Matt's like, hey, are you really sure you want to do this? And she's like, what? And she's like, date all these guys. And she's like, yeah. So basically, Jude's sick in this episode because they had to take Jude out of this episode somehow, and Steph gets sick too later on. So she's like, hey Lena, you have to go to the dinner date thing between Jenna and Steph. And it's just like, really, Steph, you had to be sick, so you had to pull your wife into your problem. So yeah, so anyway, yeah, so basically, Jenna's once Steph gets, once Lena gets there, she's talking with Steph, and Steph's basically, and she's like, who are you talking about? Who are you talking to? She's like, Steph, and she's like, she's sick, so she's like, and Jenna's like, hey, go, be with your wife. So basically that's her own words of, hey, go be with your wife so they can secretly flirt behind the scenes. And it's just like, and it's just like, man, and So yeah. So anyway. But Steph Melina gets another call from the school security system because someone left the lights on, and yeah, it's still like, so yeah, so anyway, yeah. So the school, someone left the lights on, and she's like, "Hey, go," and she's like, so yeah, so anyway, Leah ends up going and discovers Brandon, Mariana, and everyone. But Mariana, but by the time and when Leah gets there, she sees Brandon, Callie, Mariana. Everyone ends up running, and she's like, "What's going on here?" And Mariana just bolts. So Leah's pretty mad. She's like, she's. So yeah, so she's pretty mad. She's like, on my first day, my children break into my school, and 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 Brandon got Callie and Mariana as accomplices. But only if they knew that this whole plan was for Grace, then she'd understand. But so yeah, so Seth is still getting how to breathe, and she basically stays with Lena, and yeah, so anyway, so anyway, so Callie realizes that the camera that she got from UC SCU, wait no, SCU, it's basically property of UCSD. So she basically gets calls from him and his parents, and basically shows them the video, and then she's like, "Hey, Jimenez and Flago, you're able to be on deportation." That means she can finally church. And it's basically like, "Hey, where's man going?" And she's like, "Where are you going now?" Basically, his mom said. She's like, and Stephanie said that she could live with them until her DACA status gets sorted out. So great for Humana. She and Poppy get to live with each other again. But now Stephanie and little kid. Speaking of Poppy, before this happened, Poppy came home to learn that her parents were being transferred to Arizona, and basically, and yeah, Arizona. So yeah, so after we practice, Jesus and Jesus and Mariana are hanging out at derby practice when Emma calls, and she's like, "What are you doing there? What are you doing there?" He's like, "I came here to study." And she's like, "Isn't I'm just here with Mariana and Poppy?" And she's like, "Isn't that distracting?" And then when one of the people hit one of the blockers, she's like, "Oi," which means hey. She only hit 4 blockers, which she's like, once so Emma's like, "Hey, do what you want," and yeah, basically being jealous. And Mariana's like, "Hey, why don't you use a stats manager?" And he's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "It means you wouldn't have to do hard math." So basically, we learned that Jesus did take the roller manager position when Poppy comes home all upset one day, and Jesus, because he was supposed to go out on night with Emma, he decides instead to Poppy, and Emma watch Whip It together, and she's like, "You don't have time for me, but you," so anyway, he says that he's just now the road manager, and he was able to do it great. So she's like, so after Poppy leaves, so it's just like, "Hey," and she's like, they basically get into a fight, and she's like, "You don't have time for me, but you have time to be a roller derby manager." And he's like, I don't have time to be a roller derby manager," but he's like, "Hey, Emma, you're my only wheel," and basically or something. So anyway, next day, Emma shows up to the roller derby team, saying, "Hey, I want to try out. If my best friend and my brother and my boyfriend are trying me out, why don't I try out too?" And basically, Poppy's kind of like, "Why is not like why is Emma here?" She's like, "Why is Emma here? Like, why is Emma at roller derby?" So anyway, yeah, and Brandon and Grace and Brandon Brandon and Grace make a deal. Brandon will stop doing things for Grace. Grace will stop doing things for Brandon. If Brandon stops teaching Grace how to stops treating Grace like a Make-A-Wish kid, and she's like, Brandon, I won't be able to see you for a while because my T cells are going back in. My T cells are going back in, and this is my last adventure for a while. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Steph confronts Tess. She's like, Tess, what is going on with you? Your husband's asking what's going on with you. I don't want to tell him what's up because I don't even know. You're flirting with their neighbor's with their friend, and she basically just saying something and walks away. So anyway, that wraps up this episode of The Fosters. And also, there's some Ice Agent following Callie for now. Like, Callie didn't have any more trouble. Humana finally goes to the Fosters, and guess what? Ice is now after Callie, or Humana, or something. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and also, I'll see you guys in the next video. But also, forgot to mention that Steph remember Brandon by Steph. Brandon gave Grace a bottle of sand and a picture of him and his senior quote, and Brandon's like, and Susan's like, I like him, and Susan, yeah, Grace is like, I like him, Susan's like, I like him too, and that basically wraps up this episode of The Fosters. Okay, anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next, The Fosters.